This is a sneak peek at the back end of the form set up for District 58. It's a form that lets people apply to be session presenters for TLIs. And the page has two sections, and the first half includes a quick introduction letting people know it's a 40-minute session, along with a picture showing a session from a past event. It gives people an opportunity to visualize themselves in that role of presenting to an audience. The next section is about expectations, includes some details here, and again another photo showing a presenter in front of an audience. This third section includes topic suggestions. We found that the TLI sessions that are not officer-oriented tend to be a big draw when it comes to registration. So we're trying to give people a few suggestions to think maybe outside the box and see if they can come up with something dynamic. And the fourth section has to do with the typical candidates and a few candidate requirements. And again, we have another photograph here. Then after that, we move to the form itself, and the form has three sections. The first part is for the presenter, and it asks for some basic information, contact information, that kind of stuff. The second section is the presentation, and the session title, please make a note of that. It says one form to rule them all. You're going to see that a little bit later. And then these next two sections, the session description and the photo, what we're hoping to do is get people to write a promotional description of their session and supply a photograph of themselves, a headshot. And we want to use that headshot along with that description in email promotions and getting people to sign up for an event. We find that including a photo with a description is much better than just a description itself. I'm going to skip down to a few more details. This last section indicates the season, location, and maybe some equipment requirements, projectors and so forth. Something else I've made sure to do is ensure that this form works on mobile. So here's a mobile device going through the top content. Then we have the three sections, presenter, presentation, a few more details, and then the submit button. Tested on mobile and it works just fine. Before submitting the form, I want to show you what the confirmation looks like. And it says, hey, first name, thanks for your submission. Toastmasters like you make TLIs awesome. Your and session title is now in the hands of the TLI Education Session Chair. And then a copy was also sent to your email. So let's go ahead and submit the form and you'll see that confirmation. One thing to take note, this confirmation appears at the top of the page. And I'll show you how that's done. This HTML content section is a field. All this information at the top, these pictures, the expectations, topic suggestions, typical candidates, everything above the form is in this one HTML block. And that's because when I get to the confirmation, I want just this information displayed on the page, which is what we got. Otherwise, this confirmation message would be under all that HTML content. So let's look at the page itself. This is how Gravity Forms applies a form to a page. It's done with a shortcode. And you see I have a couple of breaks in there to add a little padding room between the submit button and some additional content. In this case, it's 2 YouTube videos. And then notifications are set up. There's 3 distributions. One of them is to admin, and that's to the webmaster address. And while we are first setting up a form, I want to make sure the forms are coming through okay, so I'll keep this active for a while. The next one is to the TLI Education Session Chair, and that gets forwarded to them, and then also a copy back to the submitter. And notice the subject line is slightly different between the session chair and submitter. One of them is TLI Session Submission, and then for the submitter it's your TLI Session Submission. It makes it a little bit more personalized. Let's take a look at the session chair message. This message here has first name, would like to be a TLI presenter. Please get in touch to finalize arrangements. And this lets the person know what they're responsible for upon receiving this message. The next line says, this information was sent to you since you're listed as the session chair. If this needs to be changed, please contact the D58 webmaster, and that's a mail link for D58 webmaster. I don't know who the session chair is from one year to the next, so this gives them an opportunity when the first form is submitted to say, whoa, webmaster, you need to update it. It's now this person over there. And the last part of the form lets them know that this information came from, gives them the URL of where the form is, and then there's an output for all the fields of the form that go to the TLI Educational Session Chair. For the notifications that are set out, let's take a look at what each of these look like. So the first one we're going to look at is the admin notification. So I'm going to go to my inbox, and here is the notification. Comes to webmaster at Toastmasters D58, and it's just the form, raw form, nothing special here. The next one we're going to look at is the TLI Educational Session Chair. This one says, Brad would like to be a TLI presenter. Please get in touch to finalize arrangements. And there's that first name at the beginning of the sentence. That's that field that you saw in the notifications where it says your name first 2.3, and that's one of the fields in the Gravity Forms setup. And then we have the form itself below that. And the third notification goes back to the person who submitted the form. So it says your TLI session. It's from Toastmasters District 58, and it lets them know that, hey, first name Brad, thanks for your session submission. It's now in the hands of the TLI Educational Session Chair, who will get in touch with you soon. And it also gives a copy of what they submitted for the form. I hope this helps give a background preview of how the form is set up. I'm using Gravity Forms on a WordPress website, and I hope this helps.